too? Put it right behind my foot.
What's that?
You put it right behind my foot. You're talking to whoever shows up. You're talking to whoever shows up.
You guys all set?
Yeah,
Anything? All right.
we're ready.
The AG and the SG.
Okay.
And the GG and the GGG.
How are you? Doing well.
Are we ready?
How are we? Good to see you.
So how did you think everything went today?
Well, let me just say, we just finished two very successful arguments before the Supreme Court here at my alma mater, the University of Kentucky College of Law. Pretty special to be back here arguing these incredible separation, incredibly important separation of powers cases. I believe that the justices recognize how important this is, heard our arguments, and look forward to the outcome. Let me just say, Kentucky, this Commonwealth is blessed to have the best Solicitor General in the country. You heard his level of advocacy. You heard his fire in the belly and his give a damn. And this Commonwealth is better off for having him at that podium representing its interest. At their core, these cases today are about the fact that the governor doesn't like laws passed by the General Assembly. Full stop. That's what this is about. Complicated legal arguments driven by the fact that the governor doesn't like laws as passed by the General Assembly. In 2021 and 2022, the General Assembly changed the membership and appointment process for the Kentucky State Fair Board and the Executive Branch Ethics Committee, EBAC, the acronym you heard a few times today. Now, look, this is schoolhouse rock level basic civics. The General Assembly passed a law and overrode the governor's veto. Now, the governor has spent the last 5 years spending your tax dollars to fight these laws. The governor uses litigation, this governor uses litigation as a second veto, as a second bite at the apple. That's what brought us here today. Notwithstanding his aspirations, this governor is not in the White House. He doesn't have sole appointment authority in state government, unlike the federal unitary executive. Kentucky's Constitution splits our executive powers in the executive branch. As the Attorney General, I don't report to Governor Beshear. I'm responsible to the people of this Commonwealth, wholly independent from this governor. In the Ethics Commission case, the governor is arguing that he can pack the commission and has direct authority over its every action. Just think how nonsensical that is with an independent commission. He wants to exercise control over the commission, a commission that's charged with policing his own administration. Now, in the Fair Board case, the General Assembly recognizes that the Kentucky State Fair showcases the very best in Kentucky agriculture. They looked at the Kentucky Agriculture Commissioner. They looked to him for his expertise in this space. No one can argue that Jonathan Shell, Mr. Agriculture, doesn't bring a level of expertise to make these appointments. There's no reason for the governor or the courts to break what's working. We look forward, per your question, to the justices hearing these arguments and upholding the rule of law here in our Commonwealth.
I guess there's arguments over whether this is a power grab from whether it's the governor, whether it's the constitutional officers, who has the most power. How do you see that argument?
Well, I'm going to let the Solicitor General address that, but it's not a power grab under our Constitution when our General Assembly exercises its policy-making authority. It's not a power grab when responsibilities are shifted within the executive branch pursuant to the authority of our General Assembly. Under our Constitution, they make policy and we execute it on the first floor of the Capitol, or at least what used to be on the first floor of the Capitol. General, you want to speak to that?
Absolutely. The name of the Ethics Commission is the Executive Branch Ethics Commission. It polices the entirety of state government. It's not the Governor's Ethics Commission. And so all the bill did here, it's a law passed by the General Assembly. It made sure that the Executive Branch Ethics Commission lives up to its name. That's all we're talking about here.
Sometimes when we talk about separation of powers in general, particularly when it comes to legislation over the past few years, there's the question of would they do this if it was a Republican governor? Could you respond to that notion, and do you think this would weaken the governorship in the future?
Let's think about the facts here, what actually occurred. You had a commission where the governor still retains, under this new format, retains a number of seats on the Fair Board Commission, but you shifted some authority to the Commissioner of Agriculture, whose responsibility is core agriculture. Does that sound like a power grab to you? Or you have the second challenge to the fact that the Executive Branch Ethics Commission was made more independent of the governor so as to police the executive branch. It's in a high level, you can throw these stones, but looking at the facts and what actually was done here by our General Assembly, it just makes sense, Republican or Democrat. It makes sense.
Why should the legislature be able to make these appointment changes?
Well, I'll let our Solicitor General cite the provisions of our Constitution, but let's go back to basic civics. The Schoolhouse Rock as it applies to state government under our 1891 Constitution. We joke there are 3 levels of our Capitol. On the first floor is our executive branch, the second floor our judicial, and third our policy-making branch, our General Assembly. The General Assembly, under our Constitution, makes policy. They make these determinations of how to shift power. We enforce them on the first floor.
Yeah, so this is good policy regardless of who's in the governor's office, right? It's good policy regardless of who's in the governor's office to make sure we have an independent body making sure state government is ethical, that we really do the people's business. It's good policy regardless of who's the governor to have Mr. Agriculture with his connections and relationships with farmers to make these appointments to the Fairport. This is good policy regardless of who's in the governor's office. This is not about a pushback between Governor Beshear and the legislature. This is about them updating the boards to make sure they wholly perform the essential functions they do for state government in Frankfurt.
Anybody else?
Thank you all for covering this.
Thank you.
Grateful.
Thank you.